I handed out a bunch of flyers down here at the elementary school. By the way, you can see that this is strategically placed, this mosque, right beside the elementary school and just a few blocks from a prison over here. That's all planned and by design. We handed out many of the flyers yesterday, and guess what? The people who received those flyers didn't even know that this building is a mosque. That's how asleep people are. And I don't see any of them here today, by the way. And I want to ask another question today. How many people here are Jewish? Raise your hand. Where are the Jews? Where are the Jews? Where are the rabbis to do that? Where are the Jews? How long will the Christians continue to do this when they won't do it for themselves? Roger?
You know, she's upset, and I don't blame her. I share her feelings. What I'm going to tell you today are things that the government will not tell you, that the government is keeping from you. And how do I know this? I was on active duty for 20 years, 20 plus years with the Air Force. 12 of those years as a federal agent, active duty federal agent with OSI. I retired in 1999. I held the highest clearances that our government provides to citizens of this country, top secret plus. When I talk to you today, I'm going to tell you things that are based on facts and evidence. I try not to get involved in any type of rhetoric. If I say it, you can count on it. You can take me to court, as CARE has done, and CARE has lost. CARE is a terrorist organization. Two things that you're not being told by our government today. One, you're being betrayed. Second, our country is in serious trouble. And I was asked if I would return to federal service, this time as a U.S. federal agent, civilian 1811, doing the same thing, except one primary goal, working counterintelligence, counterterrorism. I was assigned to Albuquerque, New Mexico on the tragic day, 11 September 2001. Everyone remembers and recalls this day. That was a wake-up call for America. We woke up for about 1 year, and then we went to sleep again.
Amen.
And we are currently still asleep.
Amen.
I'm going to tell you what this mosque right here represents. This mosque represents 3,000 people plus who were killed on 11 September 2001.
Right.
This mosque represents the 4,000 plus innocent soldiers who have died in Iraq and Afghanistan. This is a blood mosque. It is being built with the blood of our innocent people, our troops, our sons and daughters. We only have about 50 pages inside the book, but we have over 12,000. Again, we got sued the day before the book came out because the people who want tolerance, care, they said, no, don't print facts. So they went to a federal judge the day before the book came out and said, do not release this book. Do not allow the documents to be released. Mr. Nihad Awad, executive president for CARE, said those documents belong to us. Those 12,000 documents came from CARE National. And I said, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nihad. Because Nihad Awad was correct. These 12,000 documents did come from CARE National that they were attempting to shred over a 6-month period. We did not allow that to happen. Mr. Awad wanted the documents back. I said, Mr. Awad, go across the street. The people that you visit almost on a daily basis, go to the FBI national headquarters and you can pick up the 12,000 documents. Many people will ask, how did my son, who was one of the lead researchers, I had 3 females and 2 males inside CARE National. How did my son and the other researchers, when there were 15 or 20 other interns, how did they obtain the confidence of Nihad Awad and Ibrahim Hooper, who I refer to as Dougie, because none of them used their true name. How did they obtain the confidence of the leading public relations media exec, Ibrahim Hooper? Because my researchers were Sharia compliant. Sharia is the key. Many people will ask, what is Sharia? And that is a whole 7-day course we could do on Sharia. But I would tell you that Sharia law is an all-encompassing 24 hours a day way of life. 90% very peaceful. Absolutely nothing to worry about. The 10% is what I'm concerned about. And to be a Muslim, you cannot pick and choose. Just like as a Christian, you cannot say, I want commandment 1, 2, and 4, but I don't like 7, 8, 9, and 10. You can't do it. Under Sharia law, you are an apostate if you do not accept all of Sharia, and that includes the violent jihad, physical jihad. I will tell you, based on our research and my visiting 250 centers, and again, having former Al-Qaeda members, Jamiat Islamiyah members on my team, this mosque is not teaching peace. You will find very, very little peace, aside from what you will hear on the news coming from this mosque. Behind the scenes, they are teaching physical jihad. Jihad Qatal, physical jihad. They are teaching right under the noses of our law enforcement today, right here in Florida, because my team has traveled with several imams from Texas who came to Florida, who picked up money in Florida, cash. They would only accept cash, went to the various mosques throughout this whole area, and they're sending it to Hamas. My team traveled with these members. This is happening. I will mention something that's been a topic of the news for the last couple of weeks, and that was the burning of the Quran that the Christian minister was going to do. And I am not one to endorse burning the Quran. I am just going to tell you that our politicians and the media should have been focusing on something in 2003 which they ignored. When our young 18 and 19-year-old kids went into Iraq, they first had to go through, the majority had to go through Saudi Arabia in order to get into Iraq. I was there at the very beginning of the war. I was 40 years old. I knew all about Saudi. I'd been going to Saudi Arabia since 1979. But our 18-year-old kids, they did not know. They thought the Saudis were our friends. That was false. When our young troops who were going to give their life first went to Saudi customs, I was in line with them. I've got one of the Bibles we got stamped by the Red Cross. It was Operation Enduring Freedom on our Bible. Saudi customs officials, Saudi, who want tolerance, who want freedom of religion, who want our presidents to bow to them. Saudi, our good friends, would take the Bibles of these 18-year-old kids, who was many, 4,000 who later died. They would take the Bibles, throw them into the trash. Many times they would take the Bibles, stand on them, stomp on them right in front of the troops, and nothing was said. Did we have media there?
No.
No. Oh, we had media. Did we have true media?
No.
Did we have, no. We had propagandists. We had people who were not reporting the truth. Why? Because it would offend people to know that Saudi, our friends, were taking the Bibles. In the last 2 weeks, have we heard anything about this? There are numerous photos. There are numerous videos of the Saudi officials doing this to our young kids. You won't hear about it. The Saudis are not our friends. Saudi Arabia is currently pumping in millions of dollars into the United States to call you haters, Islamophobes, racists. This is what Saudi is doing. They are putting it into your universities. I would guarantee you, because I know as a fact, and if CARE wants to sue me again, or ISNA, they have every opportunity. The only thing I ask CARE to do is go to a U.S. court of law, use the U.S. Constitution, and not Sharia law. What CARE is doing, and one thing, and you can go check your public libraries, any around this area, because I have, there's a small pamphlet, about a 50-page pamphlet, called The Brief Illustrated Guide to Understanding Islam. This is being given and provided to your young children without your knowledge. Your 6- and 7-year-old children are getting this very peaceful looking little book. And it is a very peaceful looking little book until you start looking who the authors and the editors are. One I will mention in particular, but they're all run by CARE. What Saudi Arabia does is pump these out by the millions, and then they send them to CARE in the Saudi embassy in D.C., and they start distributing them to the public schools and your public libraries. Who are the authors in these books? One individual by Ali Al-Tamimi, currently serving 80 years plus life for treason, sedition against America, calling for the destruction of America, he has justified the attacks on September 11, 2001. In 2010, this mosque and in your public libraries are currently using this manual to help your children better understand Islam. Every guest list from back to 2001, the thousands of names. Again, only 50 documents have been released. Why aren't politicians suing me? Why isn't the State Department suing me for things that I have said in the last year since the book has came out? Because they know I still have 11,950 documents that still need to get released and will be released. I want to close again by thanking everyone that is here. Support your first-line defenders. First-line defenders, our police officers currently in the United States, are not receiving the proper training. Why? Because you have CARE National, millions of dollars coming from Saudi Arabia, who are making it a #1 point to see that our law enforcement do not get the proper training. If you do not know basic Arabic, if you do not know who Ali Al-Tamimi, Siraj Wahaj, Sahih Muslim, Bukhari, and a half-dozen other names and acronyms that I'm bringing up, as my Sudanese instructor told me in the State Department, if you do not know the very basics of Islam, you are not trained. CARE puts out much of the training that our law enforcement are currently receiving. How do we know this? Because I have the documents.
We must all demand a full-blown public congressional hearing. They want to call us Islamophobes? Just say, hey, listen, it's jihad, stupid, but if you don't believe me, let's have a full-blown public congressional hearing. We've had it for Roger Clemens over steroids in baseball. I think our national security deserves the same time. David Gaubatz, author of Muslim Mafia, who just spoke. He tells me that jihad is currently fighting with the pen and the tongue. However, their swords will come out later if we don't speak out right now. Now, we may not look like much. We're out in this hot sun. We're not an army. We don't have deep pockets, and we don't have legal teams. But we have each other. We have the Constitution. We have the truth. And we the people. I'm Joe Citizen. That's how I see it. Thank you very much.